Most children grow up hearing this: "Good job, I'm proud of you." But millions of kids in the 1970s and 80s grew up hearing something very different: almost nothing. And strangely, that silence created one of the most resilient generations in modern history.
Imagine growing up with no applause, no one watching your achievements, no one saying, "Good job." Just silence. This was childhood for millions of kids. They were called Generation X. Generation X was born roughly between 1965 and 1980. They grew up during a time of massive change. Families were changing, work culture was changing, and childhood itself was quietly transforming. During the 1970s and 1980s, more parents began working full-time. Divorce rates were rising. Many homes suddenly had fewer adults present during the day. As a result, many children grew up with far more independence than previous generations. A new phrase appeared during this time: the latchkey kid. Children who carried house keys because no one was home when they returned from school. They opened their own doors, made their own snacks, finished their homework alone, and when something went wrong, they usually had to solve it by themselves. At first, this independence was simply practical, but psychologically, something deeper was happening. When children must solve problems alone, their minds begin to adapt. Instead of waiting for help, they begin searching for solutions. They experiment, they think, they try again, and eventually, they begin trusting their own judgment. Over time, this creates a powerful habit, the habit of self-reliance. Generation X learned something early. If something breaks, you fix it. If something is confusing, you figure it out. If something hurts, you keep moving. Over the years, this mindset created a generation known for resilience. Gen X adults often develop the ability to remain calm during uncertainty. They learned how to adapt, how to adjust, how to keep moving forward even when circumstances suddenly changed. But strength like this sometimes has a quieter side. When you learn early to solve problems alone, you may also learn to carry emotions alone. Many Gen X individuals became emotionally tough, not because they lacked feelings, but because they learned to manage them quietly. Their struggles often stayed inside. Their worries were rarely announced to the world. To others, they simply appeared strong. As Generation X entered adulthood, this independence followed them into the workplace. While others asked for instructions, Gen X often tried to figure things out alone. They became known as practical thinkers, adaptable, resourceful, problem solvers. They also witnessed something unique in history. Generation X grew up in an analog world, a world of cassette tapes, landline phones, and physical books. But as adults, they also experienced the birth of the digital age: personal computers, the internet, smartphones. Few generations have experienced such a dramatic transformation. Generation X became a bridge between two worlds: the world before the internet and the world after it. Because they lived through both, many developed a unique perspective. They understand something important: stability rarely lasts forever. Systems change, institutions change, technology evolves, society transforms. Final scene. And the only truly reliable skill is the ability to adapt. Generation X learned this early, not because life was easy, but because independence often left them with no other choice. And sometimes, the people who grow up without applause become the ones who no longer need it. Generation X was raised in quiet independence, but within that silence, they built something powerful: resilience, adaptability, and the strength to keep moving forward, even when no one is watching
Grow your mind. Satin. Hit like and subscribe.